Baby ruins your sex life.
This is Channel 7 Eyewitness News with Edye Tarbox and Victoria Corderi. Bill Evans with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast and the Eyewitness News team. Now, Eyewitness News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Edye and Victoria both are off today. I'm Tim Fleischer. We begin this noon with a restaurant massacre. The Lena restaurant in the Bronx was about to close early this morning when 3 men burst in with guns drawn. After they emptied the cash register, they emptied their guns, killing 3 men and wounding a teenager. Doug Johnson picks up our story this noon live from the scene. Doug?
Tim, nervous robbers, cold-blooded killers, whoever they were. 3 men opened fire in a small food establishment here. Innocent people were murdered, and once again, senseless bloodshed in the Bronx. It is called the Lena Mexican restaurant, but it's not much more than a hole-in-the-wall lunch counter on 198th Street, just off the Grand Concourse. About 1 a.m., 3 armed men came into the place and demanded the money from the cash register. Then they forced everyone in the place to lie on the floor. The robbers then started shooting, killing 3 men, critically injuring a 14-year-old boy. Why did they start shooting?
I don't know. I really don't know, but because the men who is still alive, they are give the money, and still they are shot. I don't know why. One of the guys is my nephew. They're coming to visit. He don't work here. I really don't know.
This is a small business. It doesn't make a lot of money, but it's been robbed many times. How many times have you been robbed?
4 times.
You've been robbed 4 times?
Yes.
And do you make a lot of money here?
No, not too much. But they're coming any time. They're coming 7 o'clock, like 11 o'clock, like 10 o'clock, like 12 o'clock, anytime.
It's not clear why these gunmen opened fire. They forced everyone to lie on the floor. And this place is so small, there's barely room for anyone to lie on the floor, but they were lying there. Why they opened fire, no one knows, although someone here who was an eyewitness who left quickly after telling me this said that he thinks one of them looked up and annoyed the gunman. Whatever, 3 men dead, a 14-year-old boy in serious condition in Fordham Hospital. Live in the Bronx with Doug Johnson, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
A 14-year-old boy and a 67-year-old man are fighting for their lives in Queens this noon hour. Both were burned in a fire that killed 2 other people. It broke out late last night in the Corona section, killing a 75-year-old woman and a 65-year-old man. The fire was not brought under control until early this morning. It is not known how it started. The investigation into the World Trade Center bombing reportedly is moving in the direction of a conspiracy and a link to El Said Nosar, the man tried for the murder of Rabbi Meir Kahane. Published reports say that Nosar, who is serving time in Attica, placed a call a month before the bombing. There were also reports that the 2 men had phone conversations. Nosar was convicted on a on a gun possession and assault charge in the Kahane murder case. In Washington today, FBI Director William Sessions warned Americans not to become an easy target for terrorists. Testifying before the first congressional hearing into the bombing at the World Trade Center, Sessions urged Americans to keep their guard up, but he tempered that advice with his opinion that the World Trade Center attack is, in his words, not the opening act in a coming wave of terrorism, end quote. A mother's love and the struggle to reunite her family is another of our top stories, and yet the latest chapter in the Catherine Beers story. Today, Marilyn Beers heads back to family court in her battle to regain custody of her 10-year-old daughter. NJ Burkett is live with the latest.
Tim, county caseworkers today are launching the legal equivalent of a cruise missile in the custody battle for little 10-year-old Catherine Beers. Sources familiar with this case tell Eyewitness News that neglect charges against her mother, Marilyn Beers, will be upgraded today to include charges of physical abuse.
Sources familiar with the case told Eyewitness News this morning that the charges against Marilyn Beers involve her teenage son, John Beers. Last week, she was accused of neglecting John by allowing him to drop out of high school while still in the 10th grade. Today, sources say new charges will allege that Marilyn Beers had subjected her only son to unspecified physical abuse. These latest allegations are part of a new strategy on the part of county caseworkers. According to this reasoning, if Marilyn Beers is unfit to raise her son, she must also be considered unfit to raise her daughter, Catherine. Marilyn Beers has already been charged with neglecting her. County caseworkers want her placed in foster care for good. Instead, she designated a local freelance cameraman as her spokesman.
Marilyn isn't saying that she didn't mess up. I mean, she basically is admitting, hey, maybe I made some mistakes, okay? But she has an opportunity here to redo those mistakes.
Teddy Rodriguez is one of Marilyn Beers' closest friends.
She will not give up, even if she doesn't get it. She'll keep fighting tooth and nail. And I know she's very upset. She talks about her every day. You know, when she sees Katie, she comes home. She's happy, but you can see inside she's very upset that she doesn't have it yet.
Marilyn Beers has refused to appear on camera today, has refused to give any interviews to reporters. However, through her spokesman, she is denying these latest charges. Now, both sides are meeting behind closed doors here at Family Court at this hour. A hearing here at Family Court, we're told, could take place at any time. We're live this afternoon, Family Court, Central Islip, Long Island. NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, NJ. Well, the jury has gone into a fourth day of deliberations in the Glen Ridge sex trial. Kyle Scherzer, his twin brother, and two other former high school athletes are on trial in Newark for the alleged sexual assault 4 years ago of a mentally handicapped young woman who was then 17 years old. A key issue is whether the four defendants knew or should have known that the woman has an IQ of 64. Another big case in the courts right now, this one in Los Angeles. The civil rights trial of Rodney King takes a dramatic turn today as King himself takes the stand. 4 Los Angeles police officers are charged with violating King's civil rights after he was beaten by those officers. In this trial, Rodney King will describe the beating he received in his own words. The first time he will detail what happened that night he was stopped by police. In the previous criminal trial, he did not testify. A deliberate decision, as family members revealed on Good Morning America.
With the video, they didn't need Rodney to testify, and they were really,
go ahead.
Excuse me?
No, go
They
ahead.
were counting on it, you know, the video saying it all.
But this time he feels that it's important that he testify?
Yes, I think he's strong enough and he's able.
Prosecutors contend that 2 of the officers drove around with King for 2 hours when he was in need of medical treatment. Defense attorneys, though, maintain the officers thought they were dealing with a drug-crazed man when they clubbed and kicked King after a car chase. When King testifies, they plan to attack his credibility.
What is relevant is his conduct, is his actions. That is not putting him on trial, that is simply putting his actions in proper context for the jury.
King has spoken out on issues facing America's blacks and has even used rare public appearances to call for tolerance. Well, this is day 10 in the standoff between a religious cult and federal authorities in Waco, Texas. There was little movement outside the compound where David Koresh and his followers are holed up. A Texas judge is also set to determine the fate of 21 children released from the compound. The hearing will determine if the children should remain in the state's care. And when we come back with Eyewitness News, it is her first hurdle on the road to the Attorney General's office. Janet Reno, President Clinton's choice as the nation's top lawyer, faces the Senate Judiciary Committee and makes an important vow. Plus, a procedure that helps clear blocked arteries, and now the surprising findings about women who undergo angioplasties. And when you get yourself tested for high blood pressure, there are some do's and don'ts you should know about. It's so important for you to know, and we'll have that for you next on Eyewitness News.
This is Jeopardy!
Exercise for the mind.
Counties for 100.
Answer. Pope, Pulaski, Peoria.
What is Illinois?
Television 500.
There is the Daily Double. Time now for Double Jeopardy.
For 200, please. Miss Cleopatra.
You've just broken the tie.
World geography.
More specific?
The Danube.
Plays and playwrights.
The other Daily Double.
For 800.
For 1,000?
This is the
correct. Final Jeopardy.
Seen any exciting television lately? Take the Jeopardy Challenge.
Watch Jeopardy tonight at 7, right here on Channel 7.
I got busy signals for an hour last night trying to call you.
How many phone calls did you miss today?
Your own mother.
Well, now's the perfect time to finally get call waiting from New York Telephone.
I called you 10 times, Mom, and then I had to walk.
Because when you order call waiting now, we'll connect you free. That's right, free.
I spent an hour trying to reach you. The conversation would have taken 2 minutes.
Call now. We'll connect you free. You'll save $16, and best of all, you may never miss a call again.
I
I called you.
I called and called and called, and then I dialed again. I kept calling and calling, and all I got was busy, busy, busy.
Remember, free connection days for call waiting won't last forever, so call soon, or else you may never know what you're missing.
You got call waiting.
You got call waiting. You got call waiting. Finally.
You got call waiting? Oh.
We're all connected. New York Telephone.
There's something really special about 200 neighborhoods in the metropolitan area. They all have a great store just next door, A&P. Since we've been part of the neighborhood for a long time, we have the most convenient locations. Yet most of our stores are like new inside because they've been remodeled. So why travel when a great place to shop is just next door?
The great store just next door, A&P.
Senate confirmation hearings are underway for Janet Reno, President Clinton's nominee for Attorney General. Ms. Reno, a Miami prosecutor, appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee. If approved and then confirmed by the full Senate, she would be the first woman in the nation to become Attorney General.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I want to remember what it was like not to be able to get a job because I was a woman. And I want to make civil rights enforcement one of the high priorities of the office and do everything I can to see that Americans have equal opportunity.
Ms. Reno is the only scheduled witness, and the committee is expected to give its quick approval. Well, the president is warning today that too many spending cuts could hurt the economy. His comment came after Senate Democrats told him they're considering now $90 billion in additional cuts. Earlier today, congressional members delivered a package of $63 million in reductions in defense, science and space, education, and transportation. The president says these seem rather consistent with his effort to cut the deficit. And the American healthcare system could be in for some major changes. The Clinton administration is considering proposals that would limit awards on malpractice suits. The same plan would also create a limit on doctors' fees. Neither idea has been approved. They're simply being considered as options by the administration's panel on healthcare reform. And a new study finds women are 10 times more likely than men to die in the hospital following angioplasty. Experts say this does not mean that women should avoid the procedure, since the alternative, bypass surgery, may pose even greater risks. The study deals with more than 2,000 patients who underwent the artery unclogging procedure. Taking note of the 18 deaths so far, doctors say there is no cause for alarm.
It's a safe procedure, that the risk of mortality, the risk of dying from this procedure is very, very low. The people who undergo these procedures have heart disease.
Experts say women may be more vulnerable because their arteries are smaller and more delicate, and because they are more likely to have such complications as diabetes or high blood pressure. But knowing you have high blood pressure is the first step in treating that disease. Later comes the medication. But sometimes blood pressure tests do not always give the correct results. We find out why as we make a house call with Dr. Bob Lanier.
Oh my God. What's wrong with this picture? A pleasant chat at a routine blood pressure evaluation. Well, actually, there are several things wrong with what seems like a pretty normal visit, and the implications could put this patient on unwarranted medication for blood pressure, maybe for life, a big mistake. First, never talk to the nurse during the exam. It will artificially raise the lower figure by as much as 10 points. Look at the width of the cuff. It's way too small for arms this large. With this small cuff, the blood pressure is high at 170/90. With the right size cuff, the pressure is normal at 120/80. The cuff should be only as wide as half the diameter of the arm. If it's too narrow, the pressure is wrong on the high side. Too large, and it's wrong on the low side. Keep quiet, look at the size of the cuff, and if it's not right, then say something. I'm Dr. Bob Lanier.
Well, doctors usually request at least 3 separate exams before they diagnose anyone with high blood pressure. Well, Bill Evans will be along with a prognosis for a changing weather forecast. Up next on Eyewitness News, we'll take a look outside and find out about some stormy weather headed our way. The exclusive AccuWeather forecast is next. Plus, he was a master of his art, but now Billy Eckstein is gone, but his voice will live on forever, remembering the jazz great when we return.
Thing is the category. Players spin the wheel, they pick a letter, they solve a puzzle, with lots of money, millions of people watching.
an O.
Care to solve the puzzle?
Be a wheel watcher.
Tonight at 7:30, right here on Channel 7.
It's America's game.
When you need second mortgage money, there's only one phrase you need to hear.
That's some good news. Your loan's been approved.
You need it fast, with a monthly payment that leaves you cash to spare.
I've got great news. Your loan was approved.
That's great.
Call Personal Mortgage Corporation today and find out about our rates, whether you have good credit or even if you've had credit problems in the past. Call 1-800-DIAL-PMC right now. Personal Mortgage Corporation. When it comes to second mortgages, we approve.
Here's what I don't get. How do you take teeny-weeny berries and make a flavor as big as mixed berry beaucoup? Could sorcery be involved? Are these berries thinking? Why can't we find a nice fruit salad to settle down with, and then zap, some wizard guy makes them beaucoup? How else do you go from here to here?
Beaucoup fruit juice coolers from McCain. Flavored just slightly over the edge.
Hey, I was impressed when my uncle built a pot roast in a bottle, but this beaucoup thing, holy mackerel. This one, very good.
This is delicious. I like this one.
Our new Progresso Healthy Classics chicken noodle beat these other healthy soups in taste tests. How'd we win?
Because it tastes 10 times better.
Well, it looks like homemade. It has good spices, good vegetables.
99% fat-free, low in cholesterol, and a third less sodium. Great. It's terrific.
It's absolutely delicious.
Progresso, of course.
It won. It was the winner.
Have you guys had any?
The label says healthy. The taste says Progresso.
I hit him. He bounced it through my windshield, and he laid on the ground. I got out and asked him if he was okay.
Her son died. His pain is gone, but the man who killed him has to live with himself.
The last time I saw Candace is when she was laying on the ground in front of my truck.
Forgiving yourself when you hurt someone by mistake on the next Oprah. Today at 4, followed by Eyewitness News right here on Channel 7.
More trouble for television star Todd Bridges. Bridges, who starred in the series Different Strokes, is being held today without bail in Los Angeles in connection with the stabbing of his roommate. Police say Bridges allegedly stabbed 23-year-old David Kitchen in a dispute over rent. Kitchen has a punctured right lung. Bridges was free on bail, awaiting a trial on drug and weapons charges. And first, there was the cartoon hero Rocky the Flying Squirrel. Now there is the real thing, only this squirrel's name is Twiggy. And he, she, or it, flying fast over the water on a pair of skis. Twiggy learned these tricks from Chuck and Luann, best of Orlando, Florida. This squirrely behavior can only be seen for those attending Chicago's boat show. It's the perfect leisure activity, no doubt, for a squirrel that loves to go nuts, dare I say.
But notice he added the 1.5 twist into the back of the boat this year.
Again, Bullwinkle?
Oh, well.
It's yours, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. It's a day today in which we've seen a little bit of some cloud cover. We've also seen a few sprinkles in and around the area because the air mass remains still very, very unstable. But all this afternoon we'll see is wind, and we'll see an end of those scattered showers. Here's the way it looks outside today at Central Park. This obviously looks like the Woolman Rink, a great place to be today, but it might be, oh, I don't know, a little slushy. They managed to keep it cold enough to ice skate on today. But notice the cloudy skies. We'll see breaks in those clouds through the day today, and we'll get a little sun this afternoon. It's very windy, so it's a bit brisk outside as well. The temperature this hour is at a mild 46 degrees, humidity 49%. The barometer has been rising, but it feels chilly outside and brisk because of the west wind at 14 that has been gusting at times up to 23. A trace of a little light precipitation about midday today in the city is about all we've had as far as that goes. Let's talk about precipitation. Let's look at the radar first. Look at the scattered showers that are on the radar across the area, some right around Binghamton, right around Long Island Sound, coastal Connecticut, south shore of Long Island, getting a little bit of some light rain. That is continuing to move now eastward at about 15 miles per hour and will continue to do so throughout the afternoon. And you can see light scattered showers off to the north and west now, and none right around the city and out Long Island. Much of that has moved off now. The cloud cover, however, when we look at the satellite pictures of the northeast, the cloud cover still remains because a low-pressure system is in the Great Lakes, and the low that we're talking about will continue to spiral and move through and move out to sea. So when, I'll tell you what, let's look at these other satellite pictures this morning, here's the midday hour. Here's high pressure that is driving in from the northern portion of the country into the interior. Here's the clouds that I was talking about with this low. That's going to continue working eastward. And as it does, we'll see the clouds break up this afternoon, getting a little sunshine that'll move in. And behind it, however, is cold, chilly air that'll move across the area. Once it does that, This low-pressure storm system that's in the plains will keep moving toward the Great Lakes. This is the next system that will affect us. We'll begin to see some scattered snow flurries, possibly some wet snow, maybe some scattered light showers tomorrow evening as this Alberta clipper keeps moving eastward. The next storm that we're watching very closely is this system that is coming into the Pacific West, because this storm could be here on Saturday and be a potent storm. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. Precipitation amounts have been heavy across the Dakotas, in the central portion of the nation, around Iowa and into northern Missouri. That's the rain and the light snow that's associated with that system that is moving eastward. Forecast map for this afternoon. We should have a brisk afternoon. We'll have some sunshine, and we'll still see high pressure that'll be across the area. 46 should be the high with partly sunny skies. But here's the precipitation from the next storm that'll be coming in for tomorrow. And that system will move in probably by the time you make the drive home tomorrow, so roadways will be slippery for the commute home. Snow will be well north of the city, but it'll be mostly just wet snowflakes, and the low will keep moving eastward, making for a rainy evening tomorrow and tomorrow night into Thursday morning. Across the rest of the country, here's the low that will be moving our way, making things chilly as cold air will be diving down from the northern plains into the central portion of the country. Very mild weather across the Gulf, where there'll be 70s and 80s today. That's likely to continue there tomorrow. But here's the storm that is brewing for Friday night and into Saturday. We're keeping an eye on that storm because enough cold air is coming down that when this system moves eastward, it'll mix with that cold air and could produce a lot of snow Saturday afternoon and Saturday night, particularly north and west of the city. We could start out with snow in the city and out Long Island, changing over to rain later in the day, and the precipitation amounts could be heavy. That's why I say we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Here's the AccuWeather forecast for this afternoon. A clouds and sun mix. It'll be blustery. It'll be a little bit chilly. The high 46 for tonight. A night in which we'll see partly cloudy skies. It'll be chilly, and it'll be less windy tonight, too, which is good. And tomorrow, becoming cloudy late in the day. We'll see rain or wet snow by the time you make the commute home. The 5-day outlook, partly sunny on Thursday. Friday, clouds will increase late in the day, and then Friday night into Saturday. That's when the next storm will arrive, producing rain and snow. And the way the trends are shaping up, it could be the last snowstorm of the season. Doesn't that sound good?
It certainly does.
Looks like a warming trend is headed in for next week, and that's the best news we've heard as we get towards spring.
Good. Thanks, Bill.
All right.
There will be a private funeral service for Billy Eckstein, the band leader and singer who died of cardiac arrest yesterday in Pittsburgh. He was 78 years old. Eckstein was one of America's most popular singers in the 40s and 50s, overcoming racial stereotypes and succeeding in what at the time was an all-white market.
When the music does I get left body, anything to make it swing.
Eckstein helped introduce modern jazz and performed with such gifted musicians as Miles Davis and Dizzy Gillespie. He's known for his rich baritone voice, as you can obviously hear in such hits as Blue Moon and Fools Rush In. Then we continue with Eyewitness News, an ideal you'll want to try in the kitchen. Get some broccoli and a few other ingredients, and you have a delicious soup that is so easy to make. Mr. Food shows us next.
On the next Live.
We're all in this together.
Meet America's newsmakers.
It's too bad you just can't bottle all this and then, you know, dose it out a little bit over time.
First Lady Hillary Clinton and superhero General Schwarzkopf.
I know we look a lot alike, so I think we ought to say I'm really not Tom Selleck.
An unforgettable hour.
What is the one thing that you know about Bill Clinton that the American public still doesn't know yet?
On the next Live.
Tomorrow at 9.
Right here on Channel 7.
Something revolutionary has arrived. And though it may not change the course of mighty rivers or quite move mountains, the first great-tasting, lower-calorie candy bar will move you. New Mars Milky Way 2 has 25% fewer calories, but all the taste of a Mars Milky Way. So while it won't cause the planets to realign, it will make life on this one a little sweeter.
Now's the time to pick a price on produce at ShopRite, because ShopRite does it fresh with great produce values on dozens of your fresh and juicy favorites. Pick a price on produce like juicy California navel oranges, 9 cents each, Florida grapefruit, 19 cents each, and golden ripe bananas, just 29 cents a pound. Pick a price on produce at ShopRite, and you'll see ShopRite does it fresh.
We save you money.
More money.
ShopRite does it right.
$10 a month. $10 a month. Living Well Lady
3 fitness centers, $10 a month. Call now.
Well, if you happen to like broccoli, unlike President Bush, I suppose, you're going to love this recipe for Swiss broccoli soup. It's delicious, but the best part of it, it's quite easy to make. Mr. Food has the recipe.
How many times we want something for that Sunday night, what should I make? Or that weekend, gee, what do I feel like? Well, there's a quick as a wink comfortable soup that can be a lot of soups, and that's regardless of what brand you've got around the house, too. In a pot, in a tablespoon of butter or margarine, medium heat, we saute 2 tablespoons of chopped onion till it's tender. Then we add a 12-ounce jar of chicken gravy, gravy, 1 1/4 cups of milk, a thawed and drained 10-ounce box of frozen chopped broccoli. Don't bother cooking it first. Stir it around a couple of times till it heats up. Add a cup of shredded Swiss cheese, and that can be the bought kind or your own, and 1/8 of a teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Heat it till the cheese melts. You know, now stirring it, and that's it. It can't be easier. Creamy, rich broccoli soup that's everything you want it to be, or would want it to be, because a cut-up cooked potato in there makes it a potato soup. Mixed veggies, vegetable soup. Add a piece of fish fillet in there, and it'll be the heartiest, smoothest chowder in the neighborhood. Quickest, too. And if you'd like the recipe, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope marked Swiss broccoli soup to me, Mr. Food, right here at the station. And we'll get it back to you for knowing just what you feel like having, because whichever one, in minutes you're saying, ooh, it's so good.
And when you're right, remember to tell us you want the recipe for the Swiss broccoli soup. Here are some of the stories we're working on for Eyewitness News at 5. Startling new concerns about the most popular and common method to detect colon cancer. Dr. Jay Adlersberg will have this story that you'll need to hear. Also, he has the tough, no-nonsense principal, or he was the tough, no-nonsense principal of Patterson's East Side High School. Now Joe Clark wants a new job, running the nation's largest school system. And Nicolas Cage and Samuel Jackson star in a new comedy called Amos and Andrew. Joel Siegel tells us if it is anything to laugh about. All this and much more today at 5 on Eyewitness News. Well, that's the news for now. I'm Tim Fleischer. For Bill Evans and all of us here, have a good day. Join us again for Eyewitness News at 5, 6, and 11. Until then, go out and make it a good day. Take care.